motion?
Let me-
Give her a second.
Okay, this parcel, so this is the driveway permit that I sent him. It says, this parcel is zoned rural residential 1. According to the current zoning ordinance, driveway must be 20 feet from the neighboring lot line. And this was dated April 22nd with my signature.
Okay, so essentially that was denied at this point?
No, it's been approved, but the driveway permit that is approved is stating that it has to be 20 feet from the lot line. That's what's been approved here. But now he's asking for this approval to keep the driveway at the 9 feet, because the agreement was he was gonna move it. The verbal agreement between him and I was that he was gonna move it, and was gonna be moved by Friday, is that correct?
He gave me 45 days
Yeah,
or whatever.
I think it
and
comes
then-
up.
Then I decided it ain't gonna work if I move it, because my tree is in the way. I didn't wanna cut the tree down, then the mound system's there, and I'm like, I can't go. I
And
can't
it
go
wasn't
20 feet.
only that, so this ordinance in particular is basically a complaint-driven ordinance. It's not that we go out and search for driveways that are wrong. So apparently someone complained about his driveway being in the wrong place. And that's what spurred this whole thing. So, there's a note on the back that said, extended gravel pad in the backyard to the road. Address of property is 5263 Church Avenue. Gravel pad installed on the north side of property facing 52nd Street South. Driveway is only to park camper in the backyard. This must be from you. No
That's me,
culvert,
yes, I wrote that.
no culvert placed as no others needed on road. This is not a driveway for our property. It is only a means of access to the pad that our camper is parked on without having a driveway to drive back and forth into the ditch. So there must have been a ditch, and then you filled it in with gravel.
There's a slight
Okay.
slope there, yes,
Yeah,
and
okay.
which I filled that like after I bought the place.
Okay, but now that you have a shed back there, you will utilize it to access your shed too, correct?
That's just lawn equipment. I'm not putting a car in there. It's just lawn equipment.
All right.
Cleaning out my
So,
other garage.
I'll let you guys all.
The driveway is just through the camper to access the
I don't know.
septic,
I think the
what
door's
do you
on
call
the
it?
outside.
The mount system where we have septic pump.
So what we're basically saying is to allow this to change to be the 9.
We are giving him a variance, yes, because technically there was nothing done, no matter what he claims. It wasn't legal, so it didn't exist in our world.
So if we're giving him a variance, do we have to charge him a variance fee? Legally.
And I have no problem with that.
Well, you
That's
gotta
an
decide if you're,
expensive fee though.
that's
How
a
much?
$300 fee.
That's not expensive to me.
Well, it's 300 plus your driveway permit, but you've already paid that, but, um, so, the idea behind a variance, and I've preached to the choir, I don't know how many years, Dan, you have to have, there's only 3 conditions that can apply, correct? And it has to be to the land, so there has to be no other way that he can use that land. There has to be, through no fault of his own, no other means. So even if it cost him more money to put the driveway over 400 feet, that's doable. So a variance has very strict criteria, and it's by state statute. It's not by something that we're drawing up.
So we really can't offer a variance, is kind of what I'm getting. So can we go and retroactively say, okay, it was in, because he did not pull a permit, we'll double the fee, and that's not really offering a
Well,
variance.
he did do a permit though.
If
But
it
not
happened-
until after
Well,
our
that's
zoning
true.
changed
It was late.
to the point where he needed 20 foot.
So he still has it filled out, it was just late.
It was
The driveway
late.
was there.
And if we penalize him by doubling that fee, does that cover that without the variance at that
I
point?
would say yes. And that's my motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Josh
to approve the driveway permit for the driveway at 5263 Church Avenue, parcel 1800124A that was installed prior to obtaining the permit, cost of permit and citation to total $100.
Okay.
I'll
wait,
second
wait.
that.
No, wait, it's the wrong parcel number. Sorry. It's 206K.
No. All right, I'll change that then.
Okay.
I don't know where I got that.
I can get it when I do it.
No, it's right here.
All right,
Oh, I was going off the one below,
Okay.
sorry.
I will second his motion with the corrected
1800
parcel.
206
K,
K.
there you go. So I have a motion by Josh, a second by Chase to approve the location of the driveway for Rodney Tubbs at 5263 Church Avenue, parcel number 1800206K, to 9 feet separation from the lot line. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those against?
Aye.
Aye.
I have a question.
So motion passes based on
Do
3
you
to
wanna make
2.
a comment on that?
I just
at all?
wanna confirm, because he said $100, if he already did it, is it
It's
only
another
$50?
Totaling $100.
Okay, that's what I wanted to
It'd be an additional
clarify.
Put a
$50.
total of $100.
Yeah. Motion does pass, you owe another $50, and you can leave your driveway there.
I thank you very much.
All right,
Do you wanna comment on that, or just, well,
This is a slippery slope.
I agree.
It was a non-existent driveway, now it is, and now we're changing
Is this
this
something
9
that you're
feet.
gonna bring up as?
I'm not saying that I disagree with it, but I just think that we,
So
on
it
a
is
slippery
something
slope.
For your
So,
book.
But
that really needs to be.
in hindsight, if they would've just left a little green space there that they probably backed on before, it's not considered a driveway then.
You're just
The gravel
driving on the lawn.
But at that point, it's also damaging the edge of our road every time he pulls in and out, so I guess, yeah.
now if we have gravel there like we're supposed to, Chase.
Yeah.
Let him fill that in and put grass there.
All right,
It is a very slippery slope.
yeah, and that is why in my position that I would say no.
Okay. I have a question, Lorelei.
Sure.
You said something about it might be 5 feet instead of 9?
Back then it was,
Yeah, okay, okay.
but it's
That
9,
being
It's
said,
nine.
it's
No,
9.
it's not. Where are we at with our fence? Is that,
Well,
You
that's a
can-
different, that's not on the
Okay,
agenda.
Yeah, no,
that's-
that's not on the
That's
agenda.
a-
not even worry about that right now?
No,
Okay,
ain't no
got it.
stop.
No, draw a diagram where you want your fence. and
we
then
can't even
submit
make a
the
motion because we don't have. one.
Okay,
Nope.
yeah, I
So-
just, because it was discussed, I wasn't
Here's
sure
your
what was
pictures
going
back, though,
on.
Okay,
Rodney.
yep. Oh,
I'm gonna keep the one that we
Just because
have.
we knew that was something coming up too.
No,
Okay.
I
I got
thought
it.
maybe if we could put a 6-foot-high fence to block that driveway so we didn't.
I see what you're, yeah.
Yeah, but,
And for the most part it is.
yeah, but not enough. Okay. All right, you're good to go. You don't have to stay if you don't want to, you can stay if you
We
want.
can if we want.
Sure, absolutely. All right. James Jenner Mink Trail. He's not here, and we're going to table that. I talked to Jim today, and he's okay with tabling it. Because it has to do with our new setbacks from the county, so it's a kind of a slippery slope again. Caleb Berry, here?
Yep.
All right,
I'm not really on the record from, we talked earlier about the
Right.
variance thing. I'm
So-
not really on the record.
so Caleb approached me a couple weeks ago. He wants to put up a fence on Highway 73. He's on the corner of 73 and Wagon Wheel, right next to the boat place, or across the street from the boat place. He put up a temporary fence so we could see where he was going to put it.
It's actually a string.
I just
A
put,
string. A string,
This is-
stakes
yeah.
in a string line,
I looked
basically.
at it. I know Carl did. I don't know if any of the rest of
I
you
did not know.
you didn't contact the rest of them?
No, I was
Okay.
working today, so.
All right, so, his idea is to put a fence there, and right now there's arborvitae's there, and he actually cut down some of his arborvitae's, to put the fence in, and if he puts it any further back, he's gonna lose the arborvitae's, yes. Oh,
And I do
no,
have a couple pictures, just
Well,
from
wait.
Google Maps.
I
The red line
didn't
is
mean-
basically the setbacks
Yeah.
that
Oh,
you guys called for, the 80 feet from the highway center and
Right there.
63 feet from
So,
the
his
wagon
fence
wheel
is
center. Basically, I'm just looking for the wagon wheel and this to be the 33 feet and then 70 feet on the highway instead. I mean, my whole thing is too, is, there's two pictures there, like with Badger Marine across the street, with how their boats are parked, they're already parked so far ahead anyway, even to get a vision to get on the highway to see. You would already have to be pulled so far forward compared to where I wanna put the fence. I don't really see a big issue with it, but
What kind of fence are you looking to put on?
privacy fence,
6 foot high.
6 foot privacy
So
fence.
not an open, like. chain
Not
link
an open,
fence.
preferably not, no.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole idea was for the privacy and the noise and stuff. I mean, I just moved into the house a couple years ago and cleared up a lot of the yard and stuff, and then I was under the impression until just recently that with that extra 30-foot setback, I originally thought it was just the 3350 until I had spoken with you a couple months ago when I was getting the permit. Realized that it was a lot further back after I cleaned up the bushes and stuff in the yard, and I took a lot of trees and dead trees and big bush trees out of the front yard as well to clean it up. Because I was gonna just run a fence instead, and then I found out that the setbacks, and this isn't official or whatever, I didn't pay for the variance or anything yet. I'm just more on a feeler to see what everybody is thinking.
You wanna go 20 feet instead of the required 30.
On the highway
Yeah.
portion, yeah, and then on wagon wheel.
Just up to the arborvitae.
Yes, basically as close as I can get to them,
Yeah,
which they were completely full up
I know.
until a couple months ago, and they looked terrible, so I just took the liberty of cleaning them up.
How tall is this fence gonna be?
6 feet, yeah. And it will be about, I think it's 15 or 20 feet back from the driveway, so, you know, there'll still be that triangle of view when if someone's pulling up to the driveway or leaving the driveway.
Is there a state regulation on how far?
no,
No, so that's just our.
yeah, but there is a vision triangle regulation, but it's gonna
Yeah.
meet that.
Yeah.
Dan or Doug, could you give us some insight into this? Do you know what we're talking about?
What's the difference between this one and the one on the corner of Bepler?
None, that's my,
Yeah, and that was my thing too. It was the
Yeah.
same situation.
yeah.
Cause I went and measured theirs.
While I was talking to him, I did have a concern about the vision coming off Wagon Wheel onto the highway. But once I looked at where he wants to put the fence, it's totally not gonna encroach upon
You
that.
have more problem going to the east than you've got to the west.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, but there's none, yeah.
Yeah.
And the boat place did put up a clear fence, you know, what do you call it? Chain link fence. But he did put slats in there, but I can see through the slats, so they're not blocking the
But you've
vision.
got boats parked right up.
Yes,
to
the boats are
residence.
parked, yeah,
Yeah.
and the boats, the rear end of the boats would actually be pretty much equal to where he is entailing to put the fence.
Yeah, your fence is back farther than the boat.
Then where the
A little
boats would be,
Off
yes.
the highway.
Yeah.
His fence is even back farther than his neighbor's property's bushes.
Right.
Yeah, actually, those bushes are in the right of way,
Yeah.
fully.
Pardon?
They're just growing out even further into the right of way.
And the red line is where.
And realistically, to get out onto the
That one is
highway,
not true.
the stop sign is,
It
there's
would
another
probably
picture, I
be
kinda
like on the
marked
other side
it
of
on the
it.
other one, but the stop sign's basically in here. To get out onto the highway,
I'm okay
really to
with
see
it.
anyway,
Just
you're
be-
almost pulling up to the highway to see around his bushes far enough to get a good clear view before you'd be able to even make a judgment to pull out anyway.
I was very, very hesitant when Caleb
Yeah.
called and I said, I don't think so, I don't know, but
Yeah.
he asked me to just go over and take a look at it, so I did, and, yeah, it doesn't look like it'd be an issue to me, and that's why I asked.
Do we have the ability to?
Yes, we can. The highway is not gonna say anything, right? The state highway? Because it's outside the right of way, way outside the right of way.
I would check there first, though.
Well, if they didn't do anything with Bepler, what are they gonna do with them?
I don't know.
Yeah, let me call the DOT tomorrow.
Okay, yep.
I'd hate to have them build something and then the
Right.
DOT.
I agree.
Yeah, exactly. No, I
And he's off the right of way on his,
Yeah, he is,
his other side there,
he's just not making the full 30 feet, he's making 20 about,
to be the 6 foot high.
yeah.
Why exactly are we concerned if they are out of our right of way? I can understand the state highway,
Yeah,
but on our right of way, why are we concerned
It's-
if they put
Because we
6-foot
want it
fence
to
up?
be, because we want it to be uniform, and we're concerned about corner lots, but we don't wanna just pick on everybody who lives on corner.
Right.
So it has to be a uniform ordinance, but we can see when there's issues,
That fence, the setback.
we can see where there'd be issues, you know, that people would be concerned about.
No, it's a lot of property that you lose.
Well, and
It
that
is.
was my
Corner
thing
lots
is
are horrible.
it's significantly, I mean, it's basically just all that property just becomes,
It's relatively
it's just,
new.
you know, buried at mow.
We had issues for
And,
years.
you know, we're just trying to
But
clean it
it's-
up and make it look
it's
a little
way
better.
back
And
from both roads.
When are you planning on putting this fence up?
so I,
Yesterday,
yeah, basically. So I already have a permit, but that permit, the site plans show the fence being back further because that was after when I submitted it basically under this standing, what I wanted. And then after the fact, it was sent back to me
I
and it was
caught
like,
it,
yeah,
yeah.
you caught
Josh
it.
asked me to look
you know,
at it, he said, this doesn't look right.
Yeah.
What's his zoning here too?
Residential.
Highway commercial.
Is it-
Yeah, it's highway commercial, yeah. Light,
Really?
light commercial,
Probably.
yeah. He's light commercial, cause he's along 70, he's along 73, everything there is commercial.
I guess my only concern is that we really can't make motions against our ordinances. We almost have to take that in front of them and try to change our ordinance to fit more what we want. I mean, I agree with you, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
why we have it there.
Yeah,
It's been that way a long time, but,
Yeah, if you do it, you may have other people coming in.
yeah, I don't know that we can specifically allow this just for that purpose.
But-
I-
Well, that's the
You
variance
have to look,
fee.
you have to look at why you made the ordinance, you can't just, I mean, not to defy you, Chase, I don't mean to be a pain, but sometimes the reason that you make an ordinance is not gonna hold true for every situation, so you have to be a little flexible and say, does this meet the intention of the ordinance? Does this meet the, like what we did at the plan commission just last week, does this meet the basic reasoning
Right.
for why we made the ordinance? So, I guess, there's always gonna be exceptions to every rule, but,
Doug, do you remember when this was all put into place as far as?
Couple of years, I believe, that's what Danny and I talked about.
Yeah, I think the one in Bepler's been there, at least, we might be into the third
But
summer
I mean,
now.
that fencing ordinance, do we have a date when that was?
oh, that's
Yeah, that was a couple of years, or, you know, maybe a little bit more than a couple of
Oh,
years.
yeah, Tom.
2018.
Tom was still- yeah.
Okay, so it's not that old of an ordinance.
you know, it's been revised, just like any other ordinance, you know, we revise it
If I
as we
remember
find.
right, we had some issues on Z, and that's where it started, isn't it, Danny?
Yeah, yeah.
And it all happened because of,
2016.
Because of what?
we had some issues.
On Conningstrom Z, north.
so it was in 2016.
That's when the initial ordinance was made, yes.
Laurel, may I ask?
Yes.
What is the issue with this one? What's the distance off of the state highway right of way?
30 feet,
He has to be 30
street,
feet.
yeah. And he's
Looking at
20.
I thought the state highway was more than
No, the state highway just has a different setback,
different
but,
right away.
yeah, a different right of way.
50 foot on the state highway, I think, is what we talked about, was a 50 foot right away setback.
Yeah, every highway is a little funky like that.
And that's our ordinance?
That's our
ordinance,
ordinance, yeah.
So how did the one on Bepler get put where it's,
Well, it's close to that footage.
It's 55 feet from the center. I wouldn't measure it because I was
It's 55 feet from the center of the road.
from the
to
center of
fence.
the road, yep, so it's only 5 feet outside of the right of way.
I would've thought it was a long ways away from
well, I pull up to that stop sign on Bepler all the time, and that fence is right there.
Yeah, it's
It is.
55 feet from the
Yeah, and
center.
he's gonna go 20 feet back. So it's 10 feet short of what we have in our
I'm
ordinance.
just wondering if there's even a permit issued for the Bepler property.
You know what, I would've had to issue that permit, and I don't remember doing that.
Yeah, probably not.
Then you go back, of course, the fence has been there for 100 years, but there's a fence at Badger Marine. but that's a chain link fence.
Yeah, that one I remember.
But I say it's a chain link fence,
Yeah.
and that does not apply.
Yeah,
Right, if you can see through it, I think that's
Yeah.
written in the permit.
that's the deal.
I don't have a problem with this fence going up where he wants to put it, but does that mean, I mean, you got the word variance on the end of the,
I believe in our fence ordinance, it does give the board the option of,
approving
yeah, yeah,
without a variance?
yes. Actually, it even says, not within the road right-of-way without town board approval, so if you can get that within the road right-of-way, this is outside the road right-of-way, so you're still okay. I mean,
Okay.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around that.
That wording is that, so it.
yeah, it's right here.
Well, the only thing it says on that is not within the road right away.
Yeah, but this is even further outside the road right-of-way, so he's even better than that, so,
So are you reading our ordinance
yeah,
right now?
I'm reading our ordinance.
Is that the
As long
only
as it's
spot where
on
it says within, without town board approval? Or is there anywhere else in there?
Let me see, well, let me peruse this.
He filled out a fence permit, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
It was kicked back because it was too close.
I kicked it back to Josh, cause Josh asked my opinion.
And it did get approved, it just was, he just put the setbacks on the permit, the
Yeah.
30-30.
Right.
Yeah,
You know,
That's a long way.
Yeah. You're taking half the, you're
lot of
taking
property lost.
half a person's yard away.
yeah, you know,
And you still
That's
gotta
why I
mow,
didn't-
you still
that's
gotta mow
why-
both sides.
you know,
What's the,
yeah.
Well, I'm stuck in a hard place here.
well, I'm hanging my hat on the
I
town
said
board.
no to
can-
them.
yeah, right.
The only problem with that
Yeah,
is,
you won't do
we've
that
got
anymore.
that, but then we've got what it can be built on. It does say that it can be 2.5 feet up
In
to
the road
there.
right,
Well, up to the road right away.
if within the street setback area, not, it can,
Right, if
Oh,
within
If
the
I write all
setback
this out and
area.
you make a motion, I'm
And
gonna be upset.
does that mean we can only approve it if it's 2.5 feet in, you know, that's,
If the fence is 2.5 feet.
right, 2.5 feet tall. And I
oh,
think we're running outside, you know, a little bit outside of even a gray area here. I
well,
agree with where you wanna put it, and I think that's probably where it should, but I'm,
How much closer to the road right away is it gonna be, 10 feet?
10 feet closer than,
10 feet
To Highway
closer
73.
than the Highway 73 setback area.
10 feet closer to that, but it'll be 30 feet closer on the Wagon Wheel Drive.
But the Wagon Wheel Drive road is not the same setback.
No,
correct.
But he wants to put it right at the road right away.
On 73.
no, on
Oh,
Wagon
on
Wheel.
Wagon.
Just on way.
But on Wagon Wheel, right now, there's a row of arborvitaes that are like
There's already a
15 feet
natural
tall.
fence. There's already a
Yeah,
natural fence.
yeah, that's already there. So, I don't want them to cut down the arborvitaes. I mean, it's a beautiful plant. Maybe that's a woman thing, but why cut down something that don't
They
need to be
take a
cut
lot of
down?
space up too, so.
And they're about at term too. I think they're pretty big.
Is it
Yeah, they're
20,
gorgeous.
so 20 feet closer on Wagon Wheel?
30 feet closer.
30 feet closer?
How far away is that on Wagon Wheel? From the center of the road to where you want to put the fence?
About 35 feet, roughly, that's as close as I can get to
Okay,
the,
and how wide is a wagon wheel?
66 feet.
Okay, so 33, so you are
2
about
foot.
at the lot
Yeah,
line.
just
Two,
about at the
2
lot.
foot off.
At the right of way.
Yeah,
At the, yeah, the right of way.
He's 2 foot from the right of way.
Yeah.
yeah, where's this lot line?
There wasn't all these problems until you made the ordinance.
Come here. Hey, I didn't make this, you did.
No, I didn't.
Your signature's on here, Danny. Danny's and John and Dub's.
Yeah, we had issues. And you
Yeah, I know.
You'll probably get more if you
Yeah.
do something.
I remember one of the issues was from your brother's place, remember, on 10 Mile? He had to move his whole fence.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Okay.
I had no problem, I'm
You're
just
making a
saying.
motion here, Josh?
Yep,
Okay.
I already wrote that, Brian voted no. Motion to approve the fence permit for Caleb Berry, 9546 Wagon Wheel Drive, parcel number 1800-741A. Knowing the fence will be 10 feet closer to Highway 73 and 2 feet Highway 73 setback. And 2 feet from the right of way on Wagon Wheel Drive.
So, do you want her to check with DOT first?
Yes.
Just a suggestion.
So I should add motion contingent upon DOT approval.
Yeah, otherwise he's gonna build something and we may have to take it down.
I'll let you know tomorrow if it passes.
So what I just wrote, or what I just read, with the addition of motion contingent on DOT approval. Wisconsin DOT approval.
Am I gonna be able to read your writing?
I'll be here tomorrow.
Okay, I have a motion by Josh, do I have a second? I need a second or the motion will fail.
And I needed all that writing for nothing.
Oh,
It's a type. Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Josh and a second by Carl to approve the fence permit submitted by Caleb Berry at 9546 Wagon Wheel Drive, parcel number 1800741A, contingent on DOT approval. All those in favor?
alright,
Aye.
Aye. Those against?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And I guess the comment I would like to make is, I do agree where you got it. I just feel that we have to enforce what we have in
Completely
the books, and
understand.
I think we're even outside of the gray area on even the board approval. However, I would like to encourage the planning commission to maybe reevaluate the fencing ordinance and take a look at what's there, because I don't see anything wrong with this. I think we need to enforce what we have.
with that amount of distance between 73 and where he wants to put the fence,
I don't think
there,
there's a
that
site
would
problem.
never, I don't think that would ever run into an issue. As far back as
And my comment would be, I agree with what Chase says, but I think the ordinance does allow for town board exceptions.
Anything you want to state there, Brian, or did I cover kind of what you thought?
slippery
He's
slope.
tight.
I agree with both of you guys. I mean, I hate to say no, because when I look at it, I'm like, no, yeah, it makes total sense, and I hate to tell you what to do on your own property, I really do. But like Jay says, if we have it there, we can look at maybe changing that, and then come back to us. Well, it passed.
It
so-
passed,
it
so here's-
Yeah, thank you.
But, I
We're
mean,
2 out of 5 votes.
in the
so we
future,
don't
you
count
know.
here.
I gotta
I
follow
had
the
to vote
rules,
because I
you
was
know.
a deal breaker, otherwise I try to keep silent. But in this case, I think the ordinance does give us the leeway to have the board pick and choose,
That's what I got out of it too.
yeah.
So if that's the case, could they have had a 6-foot fence up to the road?
I
right
did
away?
look for that verbiage, for,
Cause it's like, I'm looking at it and it looks comparable, and it's like, well, what's the issue here?
Case by case.
but we weren't for a fence, we were for
Yeah,
a
we were-
driveway.
yeah, that was-
We can't
driveway
approve,
depth.
we didn't approve a
Okay.
fence permit at all
Well, that's
anyways.
true.
Yeah.
So that could be the next meeting's plan.
Right.
He could.
Yeah.
That is
You want this
good,
back?
that is good, Josh, to put on the
Oh, the other one's over
agenda,
there.
to look at
The
that.
main thing that I looked at was there
You
was
have my
already
number
a natural fence. So he wasn't really blocking anything.
I'm sorry, do I have Kayla's?
Caleb's number, yeah. He just has to
Well, like I
still
said,
have
it's
it.
natural
Give it
fence
to me
on his
again,
neighbors. is way
715.
closer.
Right.
Well, he's on
You're
camera,
on camera. It
Oh.
just-
yeah.
1159. Sorry.
Got it.
Yeah, I forget.
No,
Well,
you're
I
good.
just figured you didn't want your
Yeah.
phone number on there, but you already said it, so.
No, you're good, all
Well,
That's going on
I get
YouTube,
calls,
so.
I get calls.
right. All right, Caleb, again, we invite you to stay, but you do not have to. Okay, moving on, fireworks display permit for Lakeside Fire Campground. They have asked to have a display, they now have a dock to light them out, light them off on. The fire departments have given their approvals. And is there a discussion from the board?
Is there anything against our ordinances or anything?
No, they have gotten approval last year.
Okay, if the fire department say it's good, I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Chase
I'll second that.
and a second by Carl to approve the fireworks display permit for Lakeside Fire Campground at 14014 County Road Z. All in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Okay. And this is to shoot off fireworks, not to sell them, just so everybody in the audience
And it's
knows.
being done by Highland Fireworks, so.
Yes, and yes, it's being done by a professional.
With Nakusa Fire on scene.
Yes.
In more places than one.
Yeah. Most of the
Okay,
scene.
Richard Gohowski, mobile home extension request. Is Richard's here, okay. Richard lives at 6542 Oak Street. I'm sorry, did I say it wrong?
5742.
5742?
Yes, sir.
Probably my.
Okay.
No,
Transposed.
no,
42.
no, I don't think so.
Oh, no, that's what it says on the letter that
No,
you sent.
you are correct.
Okay.
All right, so you've seen all the copies and the, report in your package? So, Richard has to be put on the agenda. Richard, what would you like to say?
I'd like for an extension on putting up the house. I have money put down on a home I'm trying to purchase. And I have a contract for you if you wanna see it from the seller of the log cabin. And some other things for it.
Okay, please bring it forward.
All right, so this originally ended October 22nd, 2022, so a year and a
Yep.
half ago.
He's been contacted.
There's the contract with Patrick, here's the cabin.
All right.
Is that the one sitting off 13 there?
I don't,
Which one? No, this cabin's in a pole building, storage.
so this looks like it is just the logs.
It's what you see right there in the pictures. The
Yeah, I'm
doors.
reading the
Okay,
contract. It says just the logs.
well, keep going.
Um,
Doors, windows, porches,
as well as doors and windows and stairs.
stairs.
You need an electrician,
Yep.
plumber. Materials are not for a prefab home. So that tells me it's not for a prefab home, that tells me it's not UDC approved. Who is this Big E Outfitters?
He's that guy that has that deer farm out by,
Patrick Egger,
yeah, Buena Vista.
On 90th?
130th Street.
I think so. Bob was the original owner, and I think him and Patrick went into business together. Matter of fact, Bob built his. Bob's got a log cabin a little smaller than that, and he put that up on the game farm.
Is that gonna be paid for on July 1st of 2024?
They could be paid for it before that.
Because that's when it's due, is
Right.
the balance to be paid.
Now, we had a conversation, Richard, and I told you that this somebody selling you a 30 by 40 log cabin doesn't necessarily mean that it's been approved for overnight stay or the UDC. And especially now that it's a pile of logs, is basically what it is, a pile of logs, windows, doors, and stairs. So there's nothing here that says that it's UDC approved, or, I mean, for all we can see, it could be a storage shed.
Yeah, I understand that, but as it's going up, if I have all the, master electrician, master plumber, and it all goes up according to code, then you're talking a 10-inch wall, so that's a 10-inch log for your wall.
The thing is about cabins, though, just because it's a log doesn't mean that it's an approved, and I hate to call it approved log, approved wood for building a house. Because the state says that all wood used for construction of a home has to be inspected and approved. And Billy Joe can attest to that, because when her sons built houses, we had to have it tested and approved. So I had asked you to tell me that you had a UDC certificate or some kind of sticker, or get an affidavit from the guy that says it was such, and I don't see that here. So,
I asked him about it, and the guy I have that's committed to doing the concrete pad said there should be stamped somewhere, whether it's on the bottom part of your trusses on the roof or the floor joists, it should be stamped.
well, yeah, for the trusses themselves, or the.
I won't know that until I.
No, I'm telling you that that is still not the logs. That is just
You want the
the
log
trusses.
tested for the.
So the
R
trusses
value.
have to be stamped entirely on their own, stating that they've been calculated by a licensed engineer or a firm that's stating that they've been designed and constructed to meet the load of the roof.
Yes,
Okay, and the same with the floor joists.
yes.
Again, are they I-joists, are they lamb beams, or what are they? You
I
know,
think they're I-joists.
yeah,
Right.
again, don't know.
The second cabin, because there was 2 cabins Bob bought. I don't know if you guys know these people.
Nope.
Okay, well, Bob and Patrick bought this
I don't know
cabin.
you.
Patrick took over the farm, the game farm, the hunting park, that's Big E. And so he was gonna put this cabin up on the farm, but it wasn't big enough for his lodging of people and his personal life. So he went and built up a pole building. This is a 2-bedroom with a loft upstairs.
Where is this located?
It's,
130th, is that Grant?
yeah, I think so.
Yes.
So if it's a UDC, Grant would have a building permit for this.
I don't know. I know Bob's
do.
is living in his.
Well, did it come off of that property though?
No, I don't
See,
believe
this
so.
could've came off of anywhere. I
Right.
know a few
I
people who
thought
built
he
the.
just said he put up 2 of them and they weren't big enough, so he built a whole building.
Was this at the game
No,
farm?
no.
Town
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Port
Yes.
They
Edwards?
just got it
No,
all
no, not Port
stored and
Edwards,
put
it's
away in the
Grant.
pole building so it doesn't
Off of County
deteriorate.
F.
Is it an old one that they tore down?
No.
Brand
So
new?
where was this
I
located?
don't know. I don't.
Well, it says it was a model cabin.
Yes,
Meaning
both
they-
of them.
They probably put it up so that people could go in.
Yeah,
tour
but
the
you can buy
cabin.
kits online that's called a model cabin, and you can put them up
Right.
and they're a playhouse or a storage building, but they're not built to the UDC building code.
Right.
I would, me being honest with you, I would believe it would pass anything there is out there for it to pass. It's just a matter of getting whoever I need to get to approve what you want to get approved. If it's an R rating for the log, I believe a 10-inch log would
It has
pass any R
nothing to
rating.
do with that. It's
The
the,
square footage is like 1,500 feet, somewhere in there, give or take, 30 by 40, 31, 7 by,
the original building should have had some kind of an approval,
right.
and that's what I was looking for.
Basically stating that it's structurally sound.
Right. That it's constructed
Well,
in a way that meets the
How
UDC.
can I get that when it's
The
apart?
guy that took it apart, the guy that originally built it, will have that. If it is,
I don't know if the guy who took it apart was the original builder.
and I don't know what we
The
can
only
do to
thing
help
I
you.
know is Bob purchased them both, and he built his on the game farm. His is standing,
Is he using it for a house?
yes. Matter of fact.
And where is that?
It's right where she said, it's right on Patrick lives on.
So he's living in one of these,
Yes, one, yeah, Bob.
in town of Grant,
Yes,
the exact same
and
one,
it's a little smaller.
but it's from the same company.
Yes, yes, both homes came from the same company. I
Okay,
think the company went out of business,
okay.
and that's when they went in and bought it.
So I personally know the building inspector from the town of Grant. So I can call the building inspector and say, hey, at that address, there's a cabin. I want to know what the approval is on that.
Okay.
And
It's
that-
gorgeous. I mean, it's just
It
gorgeous.
doesn't matter what
I
it looks
know,
like.
I know,
It's-
but his had to pass.
I don't want it to fall down around your ears. So,
I
okay,
wouldn't have done it had I not walked into Bob's.
yeah. Okay,
Well, what does this have to do with the mobile home variance?
he,
Because I'm in
okay,
mobile home.
back in 2021, I remember this, I was there. He had asked to move in a mobile home on this 40-acre parcel of land. Actually, he didn't ask, you were moving it in, and we found out
If
about
we
it.
remember, I didn't move it in. The gentleman I was purchasing it from, because I had talked to you and asked you if I could do that. But after I purchased it, he had somebody living in it. I got upset, we had some words, I went on the road driving truck, and he got mad and moved it onto my land with no permission. I didn't even know he was doing it.
Okay, so this is the notes from the meeting from November 3rd, 2021. Richard Gohowski, 7542 Oak Street, has moved a mobile home and a privately owned storage container on his property, which is zoned rural preservation. He would like to live in the mobile home until he has a house built on the property. He has been working with Lorelei Fear and has submitted a site and house plans. Since storage containers are not allowed in the town, he has told Lorelei that he will have the storage container removed by November 22nd, 2021. Carol made a motion to allow Richard Gohowski to live in the manufactured home for 1 year. If substantial progress is made by October 22nd, 2022, he could be granted an extension of time to finish the dwelling. If substantial progress is not made or an extension is not obtained, not granted, he would need to be removing the mobile home, the manufactured home from the premises within the allotted time frame. If this is not done, a fine could be imposed up to $100 a day. He will need to fill out a special exemption application and obtain a manufactured home installation permit application, electrical permit, and a building permit, which must be logged with the state of Wisconsin by April of 2022. The building permit allows him 2 years of construction. After the time period expired, I called Mr. Gohowski and we talked, and he mentioned that he couldn't move it, he had some extenuating circumstances, and that he was thinking of selling the property. Is that a correct statement?
That
About a
could
year ago?
happen if I can't do nothing on
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so we did, on May 8th of '24, I sent him a letter stating that he had to remove the mobile home, manufactured home, and, that was not done. He came into the office and asked that we grant him an extension to build a house or to build a cabin and leave the mobile home there. And what brought it to light was neighbors are asking, that are purchasing properties out there, that are asking how he has a mobile home and they can't have one. So this is the situation we're in.
So it's about 2 years over the extension initially.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, and,
But I didn't hear nothing until just recently.
no, about a year ago, we had a conversation, correct? I remember you getting upset because,
I told you everything I was doing
right?
up
I'm
front,
not saying you didn't,
and
I'm just
everything was
saying,
turned down that I wanted to try to do. Now I got a home, and it's gonna pass everything and anything. I got no problem on
Well-
this thing going through.
okay, it says it's gonna be paid for by the end of July, so.
First of July.
Or 1st of July, so maybe we should have you come back in the July meeting and see if it's been paid for and then go from there. I mean, because that, according to your paperwork, that is the agreement, correct?
That's what he's got written down.
Yeah, so,
But there's other things we were talking about, like he wants my backhoe and he wants my dump truck. So instead of coming out with the cash, he might take this heavy equipment in trade or in lieu of the money.
well, we don't care how it happens, just so it's paid for, and we have some documentation showing that it's UDC approved. That's-
Now, what do I need to do for UDC to
I
have
can
an
contact,
RV10?
you're telling me that there is another one that's located on 103rd Street in, Town of Grant. I know the building inspector out there, he's been out there for 10 years. I'll just ask him, you know, what do you got going, do you remember this? And then, we'll go from there.
Yeah, matter of fact, where the cabin's built and Bob's living in, that's where this other one is stored, in Bob's
Okay.
buildings.
And you asked him about having any approvals with the state or anything?
I did, and I tried everything you asked me to
Okay.
do prior to this
Okay.
meeting. The only thing I can do is go on hands and knees with a flashlight and
Well, you-
magnifying glass looking for the because my concrete guy says everything you said.
Okay, but you understand our predicament
I
here
do,
as a town,
I do,
correct?
I do.
Okay.
But I don't know what to do if I have to get rid of this trailer.
Well, you
Then I'm
made a
homeless.
promise that you would build,
And I have,
and you haven't.
Well-
So we're trying to work something out in between here
ma'am,
that will help.
I also told you I was admitted to the hospital March 11th and I almost lost my life.
You asked me not to
Almost
bring that
lost my
up.
arm. Well, yes, and other things I didn't want to bring up in the public.
Okay, so then let's not talk about that. Let's talk about this.
If
If this goes through, it's approved and.
And it will.
Well, but when are you looking at getting some substantial,
I already got the pad started and everything like that. Matter of fact, before the meeting here, I started it. But if I can't do it, then I can't do it.
Oh, okay,
But
so,
I've been working towards this. I mean, I got 40 acres. The building site is 1,400 feet off the road, almost dead center of the 40-acre forest.
so what have you done on this pad?
All the trees, all the pad, the gravel, the sand, and now we just gotta shoot the grade.
Okay, so you haven't put any concrete down,
No,
anything
no,
like
I
that?
can't until I get a building permit.
Okay,
But I've been prepping it. You know what I mean?
Yep, you can do that.
So you can see that
Okay.
I'm trying something now.
so now I would strongly encourage you to figure out whether that's gonna,
pass it, you
It
do.
will.
pass everything
It will.
first, and that's fine. But that's gonna take you some time, I guess, and I'd like to have a firm deadline of.
I'm
we need to
asking
see
for a
something.
year. If I can't do this, I'll sell the land and go somewhere else. I don't want to. I like it where I'm at. I mean, I got thousands and thousands of trees down, stumps out, driveways over $20,000.
If you can approve that, would you have a pad poured within 3 months?
It'd be close.
I'm
It'd be
thinking,
because I took, here, that's the scar left from March 11th. They went in here 3 times. I got pictures on my phone if you want to see it, because the doctor was so, he took a picture in the operating room and sent it to me. So right here, they went in 3 times and took tissue and bone out. I had diabetes that spiked, who somebody kind of set that deal up. I didn't know about it till I got up to North Dakota with my load. Is when everything went haywire. Then I got cellulitis, a whole bunch of other crap. This arm here was 33.5 inches. My wrist was 22 3/4 inches when they were gonna take my arm off. I begged them not to do it. So then we just hacked it until, this was the 4th surgery right here. Because after the 3 here, it broke out here in my wrist, so then they went here to the bone to get that out of the wrist. And thank God it's working so far. But my job and everything is on the line here until I can, you know, because I take insulin now where I didn't before. And the CDL isn't really kosher to insulin. So I'm up in the air. I don't know. My
I guess-
wife left. She went back to England.
Could we table it till next meeting and see if we can get some more information?
I mean, there's a lot that happened that I was trying to tell Lorelai. I
Whatever
just
you
don't
want.
like airing my business out in the public.
Well, I guess I'm, myself, just speaking out, I don't know that I'm looking at a full year before we see some progress on things, cause it's,
What kind of progress you wanna see, the slab court? I mean, we're so close, but I gotta get a building permit, and the only way to get a building permit is if I can get a home approved out there.
right, and that's what you're gonna need is to get that approved and
Right.
that, and that's, I guess what I'm thinking, my thoughts are, we just do 3 months and you come back, and at that point, we can look at it again. That'll be our
But
September
then,
meeting.
but then
If you
I
can't
don't
figure out a
know
way
why
to
I
approve
have
that
to keep
building,
worrying
Nathan,
about if I'm gonna be homeless or not. I mean, that in itself is sickening. I was told and the letter was sent out to another person who didn't need to know any of this business.
He owns the land.
He does not, I do.
No,
Look it up.
I did.
My
yeah.
name is on it.
Okay, I'm not gonna argue that, Richard.
It's
but-
under land contract.
Yeah,
So it's mine until I fail or he repossesses it. Laurel, I've been trying to do everything like you said. When you asked me to get rid of the shipping container, I lost $3,000 just getting rid of it so I could have a place to at least stay. And I did get rid of the container.
What happened to the submitted site and house plans back in November
It
of 21?
changed.
So now it's different?
Yes. Sir, I was married for 35 years. And after this broke out, this illness, second day I was admitted, my wife jumped on a plane and went back to England. Haven't heard from her since, don't know what's going on, which changed all the plans. Then I got, you gotta be out by August or $100 a day fine. And I'm like, holy smokes, man, by end of August, I'm gonna be homeless. And a friend of mine knew this guy, Patrick. And so I called Patrick up and I went to look at the cabin. And then Bob had put his up, and he's living in it now. And he invited me into his log cabin to look around and look at what he had. And when I saw that, and initially I told you from day one, I'd like to build a log cabin myself. I mean, my whole dream was to plunge into a woods
yeah.
and homestead. And it was to put up a log cabin. When
Well, I
first
think if we
started.
give him a few more months, we'll know if he can get the material, and it has to be out.
Approved material.
And well, we are gonna be doing
So-
that first, right?
I guess I'll make a motion that,
I would agree with you guys if I knew something about my work. I'm an owner-operator, I own my own truck. And I can't drive it until I find out medically what I can do or not do here. I'm still under medical care. I don't have my.
So
The
what are
problem
you,
is we're
what are you
already-
telling us you can do, Richard?
Like I said, I can try to get the concrete done by 3 months.
And
but
then
you're
what?
talking like 10, once you put the concrete in, and the house got to go up.
Yeah, and,
so I guess here's what I would like to see, and I'm not making a motion yet, but in the end of that 3 months, I'd like to at a bare minimum see a contract with somebody to pour the cement.
I was gonna, sir, he was gonna give me a letter of intent.
Yeah, that's fine, but
Is that
with
what you
a
want?
date at which point they are putting that up,
All right,
and approval of whatever building is going up there, which you're gonna need before you get the permit anyway.
right,
So I'd like to see those two things.
okay.
You sure?
No, I was, no.
But I will make a motion to approve a 3-month extension at this point. So that will be our September meeting. We will come back and discuss this.
Okay.
And we need to see, to move further past that point, we will need to see progress that could be in either the cement being poured or a date when that is, so that we know there's substantial progress.
All right,
And the approval of a building.
okay.
Does that sound fair?
It does. I'm trying, I really am.
I don't wanna get to
Lot
the
hit
point
me.
where temperatures start cooling off too far,
No,
so I think September is the farthest we can go out on that. But, do I need to write that down?
I think I got it. Chase made a motion to approve a 3-month extension till September to see substantial progress in the concrete and approval of the building.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Chase and a second by Brian. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against?
Can I ask you something, sir? I've been finding out in Lorelei, the guy got doing the concrete said the same thing you did. Identical to what you did. So I called Patrick and I said, Patrick, even the concrete guy is saying the same thing Lorelei is. This house has to be stamped somewhere. There has to be plans somewhere.
Who's the concrete guy?
Jeremy, he's out of Junction City. I
Liggett?
can't remember his, what's,
Liggett?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Now, before you finalize everything purchasing that, I would find that information, make sure stuff is.
Right, and that's what we're doing, and I've been trying since me and her talked the last time here a couple of weeks ago.
Now, that's gonna be kind of linchpin in your plan here, so.
But now, somebody was telling me about an architectural draft person coming out and they test the logs for R value. And then I
No.
need an
That won't
architectural
help
drawing
you.
of the pad on the load bearing
No,
wall.
you need a structural engineer to test the log, some kind of a, who did you guys hire? Out of Port Edwards, somebody?
I honestly don't,
Somebody has to. Where'd you get it? It's,
we could probably get back to you.
yeah,
I mean, we got-
until you have, you said the trusses are there?
He's got everything there but the roof was a
The
cedar.
trusses are stamped. I mean, there's
what-
no way to tag them.
That's what
It's
Jeremy
actually embedded in the wood. So that you should be able to have.
But it's in a barn, stacked
Well-
out. I'd have to go in and crawl around and try to
No,
find it.
just one truss. Every truss has to be stamped.
And the floor, Jeremy said that
Every joist will be stamped.
the floor joists should be stamped too.
Every one. But that doesn't mean the logs will be.
Right.
But I'll figure that out. I'll call the building
Do
inspector.
you want me to call you back with Bob's last name? He was the original owner of the game.
Can we
farm.
get a copy of that contract right there? Can you make a copy of that, please, Billy Joe?
Sure.
You're gonna probably, you can, yeah.
No, don't keep it. He's got signatures on there, please. Thank you. So I'll make some calls and see what I can find out too.
Okay. And I'll go talk to Bob too and see what I can do on, or what he had done, or who he had talked to, or what.
Yeah,
But
that sounds
obviously, he
great.
had to have approval on what
Yeah,
he did.
between the two of us, we should figure something out.
All right,
Okay. But you have
till September.
until September.
Now, does that mean I have to have the pad poured by September? Because I don't know if this is all gonna fly.
I would be okay with a contract with the cement guy that has a date on the contract by which time it will be approved.
Okay, like the contract I have with the seller of the log cabin here? Same
Sure.
thing?
And at that point, it may be, if it's not poured, it may be approved for
Thank
a
you,
month
ma'am.
until that is, or something. I mean,
Okay,
we're probably gonna go by increments here, because technically that mobile home shouldn't be there at all.
all right, right, I agree.
So I
agree.
don't wanna be extending this out a year.
I have no problem. Matter of fact, what I was gonna do, just so you know, is once the house goes up and I have it inspected where I can move in, I was gonna donate the trailer house to somebody in need. So the trailer was always planned to be moved. It just because of this and the personal things I've been going through, that's why I'm held up.
I understand, and I hate to cut you off.
No,
We got a
I'm
long
good.
meeting here.
I'm
Well,